was diagnosed with autism at the South London and Maudsley Hospital in 2016 when I was 23 years old. The symptoms and the traits were quite misunderstood, so because I didn't have a lot of the big stereotypical ones, it was missed. My mum did take me to an assessment for it, but when my friends at secondary school found out that I was going for assessment through CAMS, they said to me, wow, well, you're going to be labelled then, you're going to have this label of autism for the rest of your life. People are going to rip you to shreds. And it immediately put me off, and I didn't go back for the diagnosis, so it was just sort of left. But then once I'd had my first child and my second child, and I was diagnosed with depression, anxiety, they considered the possibility of personality disorders, OCD, and it wasn't until I remembered the things that were suggested through school, I thought I would explore it a bit more. I mentioned it to my GP, who then referred me to South London and Maudsley Hospital. They specialise in adult autism and ADHD, and within a year I got my diagnosis, and they said without a shadow of a doubt, you know, this is what you've got and this is what you've had for your whole life. And it was a relief, to be fair, to know that I wasn't weird, I wasn't strange, I had something, you know, and it was just a lot of answers that I'd been looking for my whole life, and I finally got them. Autism affects my daily life hugely, actually. It affects the way that I think, the way that I interact with people, the way that I do my job, the way that I parent my children. Things that my children do, they want me to play make-believe with them, they want me to play imaginative games with them, which I really struggle to do. Things like sort of, I used to love drama when I was younger. I could act. If there were words on a paper that I could memorise and I could act it out, I could do that, but spontaneous role play I'm not very good at. So my children suffer there somewhat, and I also work in a nursery, which is hugely triggering for me. I'm quite sensitive to noise. There's a lot of noises that I really struggle with, and the nursery does trigger that a lot. It affects every aspect of my life. It affects, a lot of the time, if my friends say, oh, do you want to go for a drink, do you want to go to the pub after work, I'll make excuses as to why I can't go, because I just can't face being around other people. In the past, I used to call in sick for work because I'd had a meltdown the night before and it just completely wiped me out. Or if I went to a family wedding or a get-together or a big social interaction that I had to go to, it wiped me out for a couple of days, where I just felt like I couldn't be near any noise, any sights, any sounds, and I'd have to lock myself away for a bit just to, you know, mentally recover. And I think the support that is available for autistic children is fantastic, and I think the support for autistic adults in residential homes, and, you know, people who are on the higher end of the spectrum who receive that support from carers and their families, can take them to groups and things, it's incredible. For someone like me, who's considered high functioning enough to live a normal life, you don't get support. You have to cope. What choice do I have? If I didn't cope, then what? My children wouldn't have a parent. I've struggled with depression my whole life, anxiety my whole life, and it's trying to live in a world that's not designed for people like me.